hiding here, and I can't seem to understand this. I know your love is over here. Tell me what your love is made of.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hey you, hello you, how are you? Can you tell I'm in a good mood? I'm joking. I'm actually in a really crappy mood. The only reason why I decided that this is the best time for me to do the story time is because I wanted to get out of this mood. I wanted to smile, I wanted to laugh, I wanted to joke about. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes when you do that, it just makes you like feel lively. And oh, guys, it's really hot in my house as well at the same time. I don't know what to do, but anyway, we move, shot. So yes, as you can tell by the title, this is about to be a crazy one. And the reason why I decided to tell the story time is because it's probably one of the funniest, weirdest, craziest stories that has actually happened in my life. Like, I don't think anything has ever topped this. I am still yet to wait for anything in my life to really top this particular story, because everything about it is just like, what the hell? But anyway, instead of me just waffling and talking and making noise, let me just get right to it. So we're gonna just call this best friend of mine Lucinda, right? I don't know why I'm picking the name Lucinda, but it's just been in my mind lately, okay? So we're gonna call her Lucinda. So Lucinda and I weren't always best friends. We actually went to a certain school together. And then later on in life, we just happened to bump into each other because of other friends and realized that we had like similar lives at that precise moment. Like, things that were going on in our lives were like completely the same. And so yeah, we decided that, you know, we just kind of gelled and got close, and you know, we started doing a lot of things together, like going out a lot more. She was the first person I went clubbing with. Okay, so we had a whole bunch of different like life experiences together in terms of like learning how to go out together. We just were exploring a lot of things in our life at that time because we both lived on our own, and yeah, we both lived on our own due to circumstances in life. This was when we were about 16, 17. We were friends for like some time. Like, we were friends for quite a long time. Anyway, so eventually we started exploring, and then we got into this. So before we even started the whole going clubbing process, we started with the, you know, the regular house parties, the whatever. Eventually she started dating this guy. The guy was an ass. I really did not like this guy. There was nothing in him that made me like, I could not stand this guy. Like, everything about him just used to make my skin crawl. Like, he was one of those guys that every single time he opens his mouth, he's saying some really dumb stuff. And it's like, no matter what you would say to her, she just would not like leave him alone. But I guess the prick was doing something for her, that I couldn't do. So, you know, you had to just leave. We just had to manage like that. And so eventually, anyway, we still used to hang out with the guy, even though I didn't like him. We used to, whenever he was around, like, yeah, I used to be the third wheel, just waiting for him to like fall down the stairs. I'm sorry, I'm joking. I'm joking. But yes, I just didn't want him around. He was just like so irritating. And so we're gonna call her boyfriend James, right? And so Lucinda's boyfriend James used to grind my gears a lot. One day, Lucinda said, hey, I'm bored and James is trying to come over. So what do you want us to do? And I was like, okay, listen, typical girl stuff. I was like, tell James to bring over some drinks because I'm bored, you're bored, and I really ain't trying to be looking at his face the whole night and not having some beer goggles so I can at least maintain my happy face. And so, yeah, she told James to go ahead and bring on some drinks. Yeah, we got ready, you know, look cute, whatever. And then James brought over his friend. James and Olu came around eventually. And they brought over, those days we used to like to drink Courvoisier. I don't like to drink that drink now. It literally gives me PTSD for just based on the amount of times we drank that drink. Anyway, he brought over Courvoisier, and I think he brought over like peach schnapps or something like that. Like, he brought over a couple of things. And so everybody's drinking. So it's like the four of us, Lucinda, myself, James, Olu, we're drinking. You know, we're having a swell old time. And the type of way her house was, like, she lived in like a shared house, but her house was kind of like her own apartment. It had bathroom, toilet, everything, kitchen. So yeah, it was pretty cool for that, because then you didn't have to worry about sharing communal areas and stuff like that. And so that was like really fun. And so I used to love going over to her place, because I lived in a shared place too, but mine, I had to share communal areas, and like nobody's trying to invite people over when we got to share toilets. So yeah, her place was always the spot. You know, I would be at my house for the whole week. While I went, at that time I was attending beauty school. I'd be at my house for like the week, and then we would like I would go to her house for the weekend. So like on the Friday, I'd make sure I packed all my stuff and I'd head straight to her house. And then after school, I'd go straight to her house, and then and I'd go back to mine on like the Sunday. Anyway, we're drinking. Turning up, listening to music, you know. I can't stand James. I'm still looking at him like the whole entire time is there like, oh, can you just leave? Anyway, we drank so much that it was a pass out situation. That's how much we were drinking. The last I remember, sis was like, we all were just happy, right? We're all just drinking and we're all just excited. And I remember they kept on going out on like the balcony to go and smoke. It wasn't really a balcony, it was like the windowsill, but the way her window was set up, you could kind of come out of it. I wasn't trying to do all of that because I have a serious fear of doing things that might potentially kill me. So anybody that knows me knows if I think I'm gonna die doing it, or I could possibly die, I'm not doing it. I'm not that risk taker. It's just not me. And so they kept on doing that, and I was like, no, it's okay. I'll just sit on the chair and smoke on the chair like a normal person. And so yes, we were enjoying ourselves, and then that's pretty much where my night ended, right? I slept. I fell asleep. And you know, like when you drink, right? Have you ever noticed that when you drink, you pass out? If you've drank that much, you pass out, but you always wake up like at like 2 a.m. or like 3 a.m. or something like that. Them random times. So she had a single bed in her house, in her place. She hadn't had a double bed or anything like that. She had only just moved in, so it was like their own stuff. And so she had this like little small single bed, and so we just two big girls squashing each other on this bed every time I would go and see her. Although sometimes I just sleep on the floor, but that night I was the first person to pass out, so I was like, yeah, it's me on the bed. But she was just one of those people who, you know, she just was not going to let you have her bed. She'd rather we do toe to head to toe, if that makes sense. But this night, for some reason, I'm guessing she just decided not to do that, or she was that turned up, she did not think to do that. Anyways, so I open my eyes, it's dark everywhere, and I'm like, okay, naturally, I'm sure people have gone home. And I can just like smell this scent, this really pungent scent that's just like, okay, it just does not smell good. But I didn't think it was that. I thought maybe somebody used the toilet and then forgot to flush or something like that. I didn't think anything of it. Anyway, naturally, when you wake up at 3 in the morning after being drinking and stuff, you need to pee. Like, you really need to pee. I needed to, release all that alcohol out of my body. And so I was like, okay, let me get up. As I'm getting up, I realize she's sleeping next to me. And I'm like, okay, cool. She's sleeping next to me, fine. But as I realize she's sleeping next to me, I can feel wetness like on my leg, on the bed. When I touched her, she was a bit soaking as well herself. And I was just like, what is going on? Like, this is crazy, right? What is going on? And so I'm like, okay, so I get my phone, which happens to be on the side on me, luckily. And then I'm like, let me turn on the little torch. So if you know the old Samsung phones, you kind of had to go through your phone a bit to find the torch. It was those flip up phones like this, the slide up phones. It was one of those little pink ones, so cute. And so I was like, let me put on the torch. And so I managed to turn on the torch. And I look around and I'm like, oh, what were they eating chocolate when I passed out or something? I don't know. Alright guys, I'm just drinking some juice. So they were drinking, they must have, I thought, okay, they were eating chocolate. I don't know. I was like, okay, don't jump into conclusions, Natasha. Please do not jump into conclusions. Calm down, because I was ready to slap someone awake. And I was like, okay, let me cool down. And so as I was looking with the torch with my phone, I was like, yo, I realized that some of this chocolate is on my hand. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do what I don't want to do, and I'm going to smell it, because that's the only way I'm going to know what is going on. And so I lifted up my hand as slowly as possible, and I smelt this chocolate. And in that moment, I realized it was feces, poo, shit. Guys, I have to laugh because it's like some things you really just gotta laugh to keep from crying. I really just was like in shock. Like, I was really in shock. I didn't know what to do for like a second. And then something told me to just use my torch to view the whole room and see what is actually going on in this moment right now. I did this with my phone. I was doing like this. And honestly, my mind was just doing ta 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 ta. There was poo everywhere. On the walls, on the light switch, on the mirror, on the couch that was in her room, on the wardrobe doors, all over the carpeted floor. Not wooden floor, not vinyl floor, carpet. This blue carpet, you don't know this office carpets. That's what they used to use in all the hostels. They still probably do. This was nothing but poo. There was just dots and dots and dots and dots and dots of shit everywhere. I had to stop myself from puking. I couldn't even puke. I think I was just in a state of shock. And all I was thinking was, God, how am I going to get out of this room? And so in my mind at that time, I really thought that the poo was everywhere, as in all over the house. But I wouldn't have known that unless I stepped out of the room to figure it out. Her room was really big, guys. So for her to shite everywhere, like, it was a lot, right? And so I managed to get out. Like, I had to do like hop, skip and jump just to get out of the room, like for real. I really just had to do like a little rabbit and try and get out of the room. I did step on poo on my way out, guys. I did. I really did. I did. As much as I don't want to admit that, I did. You know, that's just how much was there. And so anyway, luckily there wasn't any in the corridor or the bathroom. Well, there was some in the bathroom, but it was like on the toilet and like on the walls a bit. Like it was a lot. Like it was on the walls or something like that. Like, I don't know, guys. It was just everywhere. That's all I can tell you. So it was on the walls, etc. And then this is just so disgusting. So yeah, I obviously needed to wash myself because I've got all this stuff. At this point, I wasn't even thinking about slapping her awake just yet because I was so traumatized. I just was like, I need to get this person's feces off my body. At this point, I didn't realize, oh, I forgot to mention, when I looked at her, when I put the phone torch, I could see that shit came out of her ass. It was all over her butt and her legs. Okay. So I stayed as far as I possibly could from the toilet, and I tried to just like rinse myself in the corner of the bathtub like this. And so I was just like pouring water on myself like this and using her shower to just like rub all of it, soak myself and everything. And I was like, shit, I'm gonna have to air dry because there's no towels in here and all the towels are in shit central. And so I cannot go inside there so I can wipe myself. I have to just leave it alone. Oh Lord, like this was just so horrible. I went and I took myself into the kitchen. I was like, I hope these assholes didn't finish the drink because I need an extra shot now just to make myself go to bed because I just can't. I went into the kitchen. Luckily there was like a couple of shots left or something, so I backed those shots and I was like, I need to figure out how I'm gonna sleep because I'm not going back in that room. I refused to go in there. At this point I didn't even care about waking her up anymore. Luckily that day she happened to be doing laundry, so a couple of duvet covers had been in the washing machine. She had one of those washer dryers, the ones that's washing machine and dry at the same time. So she had dried the thing before we had started drinking anyway. So I was like, okay. And so I turned on her radiators, turned on her heating, and then because I was going to be freezing, I turned on her heating and I went and I sat on the chair in the kitchen by the table. And yeah, I took that little duvet cover and I just covered myself and I said a little prayer for myself and said, Lord, help me not kill this girl when I wake up, when she finally shows her little face. And so anyway, fast forward to the morning. Eventually it was so we finally got to the morning, guys. And that she was sleeping, I said, you know what? James and Olu disappeared. I need to figure out what happened in this situation at the time when I passed out and this happened. What happened? So I called James's phone. Yes, I had his number in my phone at that time. It was my best friend's man. Why not? So I had his phone number. So I was like, okay, let me call him and find out what happened. So I called James. He answers the phone and I'm like, James, what happened? And he was like, you're finally awake. And I said, yeah, what happened? And he was like, when you woke up, what did you see? I said, what do you think I saw? I just want to know what happened. He said, Tasha, I kid you not, your friend went crazy. As in, she went absolutely bonkers. They were drinking. I eventually passed out. You know, we went from dancing, whatever, you know, passing a little wine, and I passed out, I slept. And so he was like, after you slept, we stayed up drinking a little bit. And then your friend went into the bathroom. She was absolutely bladdered. She went into the bathroom. We thought she was just going to use the toilet. And then she went into the bathroom and all of a sudden she came out. But when she came out, she was holding feces in her hand. So I'm guessing she pooed in the toilet and then picked it up. And so when I say possessed, I say possessed because there are future experiences which I will let you know. There's times where she did this stuff where it was like And this was her first incident. She had a lot more incidents where she did crazier things as well. Where every time she would like get drunk, she'd just start acting like mad and just scary and whatever. And so, yeah, this was just one of those situations. Lucinda, if you're watching this, hey, it's just a funny story, innit? At the end of the day, nobody knows who you are. So, yeah. You know, it was one of those situations where it was like, what the hell just happened? And so I basically was like, what do you mean? And so James was like, do you remember that last night I was wearing white? And I said, yes, he always loved wearing white, this guy. Like, he was like just one of those guys. And so he was wearing white. And so he was like, I'm sorry, sis. I didn't want to leave you, but I was wearing white, and she popped out of that bathroom with feces. And we kept on saying, Lucinda, stop. What are you doing? What are you doing, Lucinda? What are you doing? And she just would not stop. She just continued going. She started taking it and going on the floor and doing all of this and rubbing it everywhere, rubbing it all on the walls and everywhere, rubbing it. And I was like, why did you wake me up? Like, seriously, why did you not wake me up? And he was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't know what to do. And I was like, how did it? He just was like, honestly, she just went crazy. She just literally went crazy. It was like she went into the toilet a different person and she came out a whole different person. And she was just doing this crazy stuff. And we couldn't get her to stop. And so we just had to like pick up ourselves and leave. We even left all the drinks, and really and truly they did leave all the drinks. Like, the bottles were like, I think like halfway empty or like 3/4 empty. But yeah, they had to leave and just go, like literally just pick themselves up and go, because they kept on saying, Lucinda, and she started trying to come to them. And so they like closed the door, and that's why the light switch and everything had like poo all over it. Yeah. So she eventually woke up again after I spoke to James, and I was just like, girl, what happened to you yesterday? And she was like, I don't even know, what are you talking about? I said, girl, if you don't open your eyes, I'm about to punch you. And she opened her eyes and she's like, oh my days, what happened? I'm like, bitch, you happened. Do you not remember doing all of this? Like, I promise you, I don't. I was like, you are absolutely crazy. Like, you're actually mad. How do you not remember that you did this stuff? And she was like, I do not remember. I was like, do you know that do you know what? Shout out to James though, because that dude still stayed with her after that. He used to cheat on her a lot though, but he still stayed with her. Not that I'm saying cheating is right, but to be fair though, I do feel like he kind of stayed with her just so he can use her house as like a trap room. Not necessarily a trap house, but her house for himself. And so whenever she wasn't there, he used to bring a bunch of girls just to like... But yeah, so James was a dick. And so yeah, I just was like, listen, girl, I'm not coming in this room. As you can see, I'm talking to you. I was literally by like the door and I was like this. And this is how I was talking to her the whole entire time. And she was like, what happened? And I'm like, listen, I don't know what you're going to do, but you need to clean your house. I'm not going to help you clean it because it's not my poo. I refuse to clean poo. I haven't had any kids yet. I'm not about to be cleaning poo. The last diaper I changed was my little sister's, and I'm not about to clean poo. So you need to figure out. She's like, oh, we need bleach. I said, you need bleach, not me. I don't need bleach. You need bleach. So stop saying we, because you're coupling me up with your situation, and you did this to your motherfucking self. And so, yeah, she basically kept on going on and on and on about it. And so I took my last tenner. I was gonna get other money that day from my mum anyway, but yeah, I took my last tenner and I said, you know what, I was gonna use this to take myself to my mum's house, but I'm gonna use it to go and buy you some cleaning stuff. So you just sit on in here, tiptoe yourself into the bathroom and clean yourself up, because you really need to. You look a mess. Guys, I know I sound like I was like so not compassionate, but I promise I was like really compassionate at the time because she was still my friend. I was just angry, but I was not angry. Anybody that knows me, I can't be that mean to anybody. Like, so yeah, I wasn't horrible to her. I still said the things I said. I just wasn't mean about it. But yeah, and I told her I'll go to the shop. So I went to the shops. I bought all her cleaning products. I bought a bleach, the Flash, Seal It Bang, you name it. I just needed her to clean everything so I can be able to put my nyash on those chairs again, because I couldn't bring myself to sit down, even to put my bags back. The only thing that I thank God for is that for some reason I was smart enough to put my bag in her wardrobe and not outside, because if I had left my bag outside her wardrobe, hey, my school uniform was white, I would have just had to just leave it there. The whole uniform cost like a good, each of those shirts cost like a nice 30 quid, bruv. And so, yeah, we just had to do it like that. I just, luckily I'd left that in the cupboard. So yeah, I went, I bought her cleaning products, and she was there, she was cleaning her stuff. She had to clean up after herself. I didn't help her. I sat in the kitchen the whole entire time. And then she came to me and asked me to explain everything that happened. And I was like, girl, this is what you did. Craziest part though is she didn't look ashamed at all. She kind of looked like someone who's done this stuff before and just maybe just didn't tell anybody. But yeah. And future times I knew that she was like not well, because every time, like I said, she would get drunk, she used to behave this way. Not always the poo thing, but yeah, she used to just, she was really abusive when she was drunk as well. It was just a lot, guys. But yeah, she cleaned up everywhere eventually. And once she was done cleaning, I packed up all my shit and went back to my house. I was like, no clubbing for us for the rest of the weekend. I know it's Saturday, but I'm out of your yard. I'm going back to my house because I don't want none of this. I cannot get over this trauma. I need to sleep in a bed that I know that don't smell like shit. You still need to dry up your sheets and that. Like, unfortunately, back then there wasn't Dettol laundry cleanser, but she needed that too. And so, yeah, I didn't go back to her house for like 2 weeks. Anyway, that's my story time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any more questions, ask me in the comments. I'll be sure to answer everything. But yes, I just needed to just let that story out because it's just really funny to me. Crazy stuff has happened in my life, but I'll be sure to try and do story times maybe like every other week, or you know, whenever I think of crazy stuff that happened back in the day when I lived on my own. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. Do not forget to like, comment, subscribe to your girl, please. Yeah. Thank you. See you in my next video.